I believe in the next 7 years, we will see the first company going public with one employee, just the CEO, right? I believe in the next 15 years, driving will be illegal by humans on the road, right? So these kind of paradigms are going to be shifting.
There's so much going on in the AI world today. I was looking at this morning. I was reading an article about Microsoft 360 is coming at us with their Copilot program, and I thought it was interesting to look at their price point at $30 per person per pop, and I thought per month. I thought that was a pretty interesting rollout. They're trying to raise that $13 billion to get that going. I thought that. What's your thoughts on that?
You know, uh, Obviously, Microsoft has a big presence in the enterprise, and I think they are going to benefit tremendously with marketing to their current customer base. $30, if you think about knowledge workers, $30 a month, if it is going to save even a single hour in a month for a knowledge worker, it will pay off for businesses. So I don't think it's a bad deal. That being said, I think we are just at the beginning of this AI revolution. And just like anything else, earlier on the pricing is higher. So I believe $30 a month is quite a high price. And I believe, with competitors coming in, I believe we'll see the pricing go down to zero, maybe in a year, 2 years, or what have you. But AI revolution is just getting started, so it's a smart move from Microsoft. But I don't think the price is going to stick around for a long time. This will help seal the deal for Microsoft to become the leader in AI space, which they have already put a stake in the ground by investing, I think, 10 billion in OpenAI.
13 billion. When they told me 13 billion, I'm like, there are countries that don't have that as a gross annual, product. There are $13 billion for that. And for me, I think that as you look at this, they're saying, hey, look, we're going to put the 13 billion out there, and their separation from the group out there, it depends where Microsoft and the rest of the guys and Google are coming at them, or Google are coming at them with their platform. The one who gets to market first, the one who gets out there. I know they're out there on a I don't know, a bunch of different networks. They're testing it, but the group that gets to market fastest will separate from the rest of the group so fast. All right. I wonder if the rest of the group can ever catch up, and it just depends on how fast they deploy this. Right. There's something about the companies who adopt AI today. We notice that if you're not working in AI right now, if every single day you're not doing something in AI a couple times a day, you're quickly going to be disrupted.
Absolutely, there is no question about it. And this is not something new. It's not a new phenomena, right? Like, if we look at history, everyone who recognizes the trend earlier on and jumps on that trend, they benefit immensely. And we can, let alone technologies like AI. If we go back in history, like even the explorers, Vasco da Gama and other explorers who found the path to the new world first, they benefited tremendously. In the gold rush, people who recognized gold, lying at the riverbed in California, they benefited tremendously. Think about, when the internet was just starting in 1990s. A guy named Jeff Bezos started selling books out of his garage, and within 15 years, he became the richest person on the planet. Amazon took over Walmart as the largest retailer. That is the result of recognizing trends early and then doubling down on them and riding that wave as high and as fast as possible.
Well, I mean, you saw countries, little countries like England and Spain and Portugal take over large portions of the world with just the understanding of how shipping worked, right? And
Exactly.
and,
Exactly.
and that is a very slow moving. And I mean, if you look at England, what's the size of the country, how dominant they were around the world, And it was just a matter of exploiting an idea. Look, I feel like the same thing's about to happen, but at a much faster pace with AI.
Absolutely.
And I've got
Absolutely.
friends of mine who are like trying, they're just dying to try to get from here to retirement before AI kicks in. I'm like, look, stop. You are not going to make it. AI is here, right? Technology is here. The speed by which AI will consume and grow is not like anything else we've ever seen in history, right?
Yes.
This, I mean, if you look at uh, the platforms that are growing, Chat GBT, I think they had 10 million people on their first day of execution.
They had, I think, 10 million within 30 days or
Within
something
30
around
days,
those.
that's right, that's right. Within 30 days. But
Yeah.
when you think about that, the speed by which that is happening and their continued growth, that just says, look, people are there. People understand the value of it. And the companies that will go and exploit that opportunity now. And again, look, this is what's funny is, I'm 55 years old. I have conquered, computers when I was there were no computers when I was a kid. I had no cell phone, right? Then I had a beeper, then I had a cell phone, then I had a computer, then I had right all of these things we've continued to conquer. And at some point, sometimes you get tired and you're like, I don't want to feel like doing this anymore, right?
Yeah.
I'm just tired. But the problem is that if you're not doing this now, if you don't continue to evolve, right, there's going to be a couple of the companies in the future will there'll be the haves and the have-nots, right? That separation will happen pretty quickly.
Absolutely. See, the thing is, the unfortunate thing for a lot of people is that technology grows at an exponential rate, and it is much, much faster than the human evolution phase, the human evolution speed, right? So we are always, as humans, we are always going to be playing catch up with technology. But on the flip side, we also have to recognize that technology is the great equalizer,
That's right.
right? So people who don't have the benefit of being in the forefront of society, or being born into wealth, or what have you, this is their chance to use technology to get ahead and build an amazing life for themselves, for their families, for their communities, for their countries. As you said, entire countries can shift their future just based on one singular focus on technology. And AI is one of the biggest technology waves that humans have ever witnessed. It is going to be, and I can share one statistic here. IBM CEO, he has said that AI is going to add about $10 trillion to the world GDP in the next 7 years. Okay, so the current world GDP is 96 trillion. That means just within next 7 years, AI is going to add more than 10% of total GDP of the world. How like we cannot even wrap our heads around
That's
that.
right.
But
That's right.
even if you can imagine, you can get like 0.1% of that big 10 trillion dollar pie. What will that mean for you and your future, right?
I mean, it's not a number. The problem I think is people can't understand that number,
Yeah.
right? Let's just break that down for a second. If you just look at 10% of all the dollars that every dollar around the world, right? And that's every dollar in Europe, every dollar in China, every dollar in the United States, every dollar in Africa, every dollar in Australia, every single transaction that's happening, 10% more will happen because of AI. Now, my belief is that'll increase by 10%, but I would say that a majority of what's left in the other 90%, a larger chunk of that will happen in AI, right? Because either companies will have every company in some way or another will be affected by AI or the AI platform and how they operate. That, the way that we purchase things, the way that we sell things, the way that we see things, everything's about to happen in the AI platform. Today on the show we have every aspect from the retail market, from the real estate market, from every network in the country has AI platform attached to it, and we're starting to see how brokers are using it, how construction folks are using it, how anybody who sells any product are using it, and they're all racing to get involved with it. And every company that's out there should be, the example I have is every day we should be playing with it. If you're a company, no matter what you're doing or what you're selling, if you, your group, your marketing, your business development folks aren't looking at AI and playing with it even playing with it, just trying to write emails, trying to write letters, trying to use it for analysis work, it's going to feel awkward, right? Everything we do at first feels awkward, right? But that's the joy of growth, right? Having to step up and go, I'm going to feel awkward again. I'm going to feel like a newbie again. But on the back side of that, it's about to happen really fast, and you want to be part of what's happening there.
Exactly, exactly. And I think the beauty of this technology wave, as compared to all other technology waves, is AI is actually here to help make things easier. You know, um, I remember when the internet just came out, I had to actually go to a school to understand how do I even get to log on to a website. Like, how do I connect my modem to the internet? Like, it makes all these sounds, and I had no idea how to do all that, right? And now today, you can literally go to ChatGPT free of cost, and just whatever comes to your mind, just start typing. Like, just like talk to it like a normal human being, and even if you make a spelling mistake, it will actually correct you. And so, in my opinion, this is the easiest learning curve that we have in front of us, and that is why it is so powerful, because there is no barrier to entry. It is the biggest equalizer of all.
Well, you're seeing that. You know, I was at a baseball game, and a friend of mine the other day. I was in New York. I went. Sophia and I wanted to go see the Cubs play the Yankees, so we went to Yankee Stadium in New York last weekend, and we were watching the Cubs Yankee game with some really good friends, and they were like, "What's this Chat GPT thing? I don't need to use it. I mean, it seems stupid." And in the second I was there, I said, "Let's pull it up." I pulled the app up, and I pulled up the app, and I said, "Let's just make up a story, right? Let's talk about you and me and your son and my wife going to this baseball game." And we talked about what a beautiful day it was in the Bronx and how beautiful everything it was there, and how much fun it was for old friends to get together over a Cubs game and Yankee game, and just how much fun we had eating popcorn and the food at the game, and and 4 seconds later we had an entire story written about it. And if you saw her face, it just dropped like, wow. It took all of those things we were talking about and brought them together in the most articulate and descriptive story I could never have done. Right, the words and description and the language used in that, and she was just like, wow, right? To watch her face was fun, right? To see the surprise and the gift that AI
Yeah,
can be. And, look, we all have a story about AI and a fear, right? A lot of us have that space where when I don't have an answer for something, right, I take a thought from my past and I put it in its place. Right. I don't know what AI is going to do. Is it, I saw Terminator. Is it going to be Terminator? Is Skynet coming? Are we all going to be working for Skynet? So I don't know AI. I don't know what the future is going to look like. I don't know what's there. So a lot of us take the idea or the fear that we have from some past idea and we put it in its place. But I think you're exactly right that we're going to see AI first be the number one benefit, or number one benefits us, assistants that really support our day-to-day life, right? A person that lives with us throughout our life and supports us in our way of being.
exactly, exactly. Let me just pick up on those 2 points. So the first thing is, humans are basically, if we look, if we strip away everything else, we are nothing but a network of of conversations. Everything that we own, everything that we possess, is a result of some conversation that we had with somebody. A business deal happens when we have a conversation. Even our spouses, our girlfriends, our even our life is given to us because our parents had a conversation first, right? And as humans, we are not taught to communicate. But imagine if AI can all help us all become better communicators. Just like you mentioned in your, it was able to create this story, and that makes us a better communicator. That makes us a better way human beings, because we can convey our ideas to each other in a more articulate way. So that's the kind of impact it can have. Like, we all can become great communicators, and create an amazing life that we only dreamt of. Most of us are not great communicators. Even right now, like, English is not my first language. Sometimes I get stuck looking for that perfect word, and AI can really help smoothen that exchange. The second thing about fear is, as you said, like, humans have a tendency to fear the unknown. And as far as Terminator coming and taking over and all of that, to that I say, if you look around the planet, there are millions of species on this planet. There is only one species that organizes that wages organized war against each other, and that is humans. That's the only species. And so whenever something new or unknown happens, we go deep by default. We go into that mode that, if I'm given that power, my first order of business will be take over the world. That's how we generally think as humans. And we think, okay, if AI takes over, its main objective will be take over the world and eliminate everything else. But we have to really understand this fear and this tendency to take over the world. It's our a generational trauma that is showing up. Our insecurity, our jealousy, our insecurity. And in order for AI to experience that, somebody will need to be so in tune with their emotions. They will be so, how can I say it, like 10 times more enlightened than the Buddha to understand the human psyche, 10 times more intelligent than Einstein to take that knowledge and now convert it into an algorithm that goes into AI to say, hey, AI, now you take over the world. And then 10 times more evil than Hitler to say, I have created this machine now which can destroy entire humanity, do my bidding on my behalf. And then what is left after that? Like, if somebody, we have to remember, AI is just a servant. So somebody, a human, has to do this in order for AI to, take over humanity. So all of these things, when you really combine them, it sounds very absurd. It belongs in Hollywood movie plots, but in reality, it's very different.
There are, up until now, I have, you look at human beings, and as humans, look, the smaller animals on this planet, today, we have chimpanzees, we have all these other animals, and they're, we're way smarter than all of them, right? And today I look at it and think, all right, as a species, we ultimately want good for the other animals on this planet. I'm not going to lie that I've killed a few ants, though, right? That they've been in my way. They get in our closet. They get, or a mouse or two that get in my pantry somewhere, and I've had to let it extinguish. So ultimately, I'm always wondering, are we going to be ants or chimpanzees? Are we something that's, at least a species that the AI will look at us and say, okay, good. They're, we'll allow them to exist in there, and we'll find a way for them to exist properly on our planet. Or are we creating the grand taskmaster that works us and uses us as some sort of, taskmaster and puts it on there? And I think that's where the fear comes in. And as we develop the AI, having that forethought and taking the time now to look at, because look, up until now, every technology we have that could destroy us, there was always a human at the end of the, at the end of the button for nuclear power, or for the end of the button for anything that we've done that could be, really take over the whole, or dominate or kill the whole world. There's always been a human at the end of that button. Right now, we've got a digital being that will be there, and that's coming very quickly. And that digital being, we just want to make sure that it has our best interests in mind.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of questions to be answered. I was watching this documentary on Netflix. It's called Killer Robots, and it's talking about this whole concept about AI becoming weaponized and all of that. So there is no question. We have to think about the risks. We have to think about regulations. But then let's talk about any other technology. I mean, let's look at this computer, the internet. the car we drove today, the gas oven that we use today, all of it can be dangerous in the wrong hands.
And I think just like those, we got to start understanding, that pendulum swings, right? I mean, look, we had to live by our food source for most of the last 40,000 years, right? In the last couple hundred years, we figured out how to do massive farming. And some of that's been successful and some of that hasn't been successful. But the thing is, like Elon Musk said the other day, goes, man, I've got self-driving cars. But the problem is, as soon as one self-driving car kills anybody, the entire world will go erupt. But yet humans kill people every
Yes,
single
yes,
day in cars. But
yes, yes.
that's that therein lies, it's not us, it's, this thing. And we are kind of specious. What was the word? Specious?
Yeah.
You know, we're, we're, uh, we're kind of a species, we've got a little bit of
We
a,
put ourselves on the pedestal, right?
yeah, on a pedestal. And like, oh, look, so all of that's going to happen, and rightfully so. And as we develop and move things, I had a conversation the other day about what are some of the things we want to make sure happens with AI. One of them is making sure that people are not, copying me, right? I want to make sure that I can trust the people that I'm communicating with. I want to make sure that my kids know it's me, that there's not a fake AI me that's representing me. For thousands of years, or hundreds or thousands of years, money, counterfeiting money was a big deal, right? We would never be able to trust the money system if we allowed people to just counterfeit that. I don't know if you were a kid, but did you ever photocopy a dollar?
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and then all of a sudden your mom would be like, "Hey, dude, you don't want to be doing that. The feds will come get you." Right? But you're like, "Look at me, I got and it was kind of fun to do. But then you realize, hey, I could go to jail for this.
Yeah,
And today, in order for us to trust our financial system, we've got to be able to make sure that, you know, uh, people aren't copying money or are
yeah,
making fake money. I think the same thing has to start looking. We have to do the same thing with AI. As AI comes to the marketplace and it can represent me, it can represent the look and sound and things that I am. I want to make sure that I'm talking, or people are talking to me, and not an AI version of me. And now I'm being misrepresented or um, exploited.
yeah, absolutely. And I think those all those measures will come into place as these big inventions they change the world. Two things happen. One, they address many existing problems, but they also create new types of problems, just like the one that you mentioned. And then we have to solve those problems. That is basically human evolution in process, right? We help ourselves with technology, and then we create some new problems in the process. So that will continue, and just like you know it was not maybe not even like 100 years ago, I think, when we realized that every fingerprint is unique, and that's what we started using to identify people. And then we realized, oh, even our eyes are unique. The iris is so now when technology is able to replicate that, we will have to figure out, okay, what else is unique about us. The second thing that happens also is that the normal, what we consider normal as humans, that starts to shift, right? So we are squeamish about AI representing me right now. But then if I send my vice president of sales to an important meeting, that's who is representing me as a human. That's perfectly okay, right?
Hmm.
Now imagine in 10 years it becomes normal to have a digital twin who has been trained in certain departments, and I can say, okay, this is my AI twin who is an expert in sales, and it is authorized to represent me in a meeting, right? And so the psychology of the society starts to shift. What
Cool.
was not acceptable starts to become acceptable. So all
That,
these things happen.
that's a beautiful thought, right? That's where today, being more conscious than ever before, right? Standing in, it's uncomfortable, it's changing, but standing in as clear conscious as possible and watching the change and being part of the change, not being afraid of the change, right? That's a beautiful thought you just had, right? A digital part of me that can be represented me in a way that I want to be represented. Or here, imagine being sticking around for my great grandkids, 1,000 years from now, 10 generations from now, or 100 generations from now, and they get to know me, right? A representation of me, in 1,000 years. That might be a beautiful thought for my family to really get to know who that is. And look, the thoughts continue to grow, and that one of my favorite parts about standing in this uncomfortableness is the opportunity to really get so much more creative than ever before. What could be possible for human beings that we couldn't even imagine before AI happened.
Absolutely. I mean, we are, as I said, we are just getting started here. So, a lot of groundbreaking technologies. When I say groundbreaking, these each individual technology has the power to shift the course of human history. So, let's talk about CRISPR. It's basically allowing the medical community to edit our genes just like we edit Word documents. Okay, quantum computing, that is going to, like, if we think computers are powerful today, quantum computing is going to really open up our eyes to what this existence is all about, what life is all about. We've asked these questions for centuries. Why are we here? And quantum computers will have that ability to answer these deep questions, right? And then we combine artificial intelligence on top of it. We will be able to find cure for things like cancer. We will be able to find answers to climate change, and a host of other things that keep us up all night. Or as society, these are big problems that we are not able to solve on our own, but these technologies will really help us accelerate that kind of growth.
I watch and I use AI in the construction world every single day. The best of the people in the construction world, and I've owned CDO Group now for 26 years. I've been in the business since I'm 20. That's over 30, 35 years of doing this. And humans at our best in the construction world are limited to maybe maybe if you're great at this, you might be able to go 20 levels deep. You might be able to understand a subcontractor or a price or numbers, and go to subcontractors and get materials and get, but where that's going to go in the future will be 1,000x that number, maybe even
Absolutely.
10,000x that number, right? Be understand that in design, in the second that something's designed, understand the material selections, the availability of it, the best in class for that project you're working on, the best in relationship to the environment, being able to bring into place timing, scheduling of human beings in a way that it's never done before, where humans will make more money, right? They'll be able to come in and work less hours, right? Get more done quickly, right? Imagine that today, most of the people on a construction job site, 80% of what they do is inefficient, right? They really get 20% of real efficiency, maybe for the great. Let's go 40%. 40% of the days in some efficiency. But majority of what they do on a job site is going to get things, finding things, looking for things. It's unorganized. Imagine a world where that entire thing, we take all of that out of it and make things, boom, easy to get to. Boom, I'm ready to go here. I walk in, get my job done, get out of it. I could do twice as much work in half as much time and make twice as much money, and just be able to have my work live life process great. Every single day I watch people show up at a job site to, they're going to go do some plumbing on this wall over here, and they show up and that wall's not ready. Now they have to leave the job site, go get more materials, and go work on a different wall. And
Yeah,
that happens every single day in the business, right? And that
absolutely.
happens in the construction world, it happens in the medical world, it happens in the uh, purchasing world. you know uh, every aspect of human existence is limited at this point. And as we get this AI partner to come in place, this place start going, all right, how can we play with this to go to do things much more efficient than ever we could have ever imagined.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think to your point about going 10,000 x, going deeper into your business, I believe I believe in the next 7 years, we will see the first company going public with one employee, just the CEO, right? I believe in the next 15 years, driving will be illegal by humans on the road, right? So these kind of paradigms are going to be shifting. Then the other thing is, let's think about just 200 years ago, around the world, 99% of the population used to work 7 days a week in the fields just to put food on the table, just enough to survive, 7 days a week. And now we enjoy, by and large, a majority of the world enjoys 2 day weekend, right?
Yeah, no, no,
That
I enjoy that I go to Costco and I
Yeah,
can't buy anything but a dozen big giant muffins that are
yeah,
bigger than my
exactly.
head, right? I
Yeah,
mean, when in history has that ever been? You have to buy 12.
yes,
I mean, when in entire history of the planet has it been that you have to buy 12 muffins this size? It's
yeah, yeah,
the abundance that's available to us today. It's getting there now. That's the joy to be in, right? That's the spot where if I had a want for all of us, is that we're going to make some mistakes. The pendulum will always swing, right? Have grace for each other as we go through the swings of this pendulum, right? And stay as focused and conscious in available spot and play with it, right? Be able to play in that uncomfortableness
yeah.
of change.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I think, to that point, I believe what we are moving towards is maybe even 8 hour work weeks, with universal basic income, and where the role of the humans will be just to make sure that the machines are doing the job properly, listening to each other, empathizing with each other, understanding what you want to get out of life and what skills I bring to the table to help you get there, and then letting the machines do the mundane work, right?
For sure, we're connected to all that is.
Yes.
The somewhere in this industrial revolution, we have disconnected from that. And I want to get a little more philosophical about it. As we start to detach from having to work to survive, right? This is, you know, hey, congratulations to human beings. We have made it to a place where we have we've sustained life force on this planet today. Now our job is to maintain that life force, right? To be able to maintain consciousness, to maintain that, and the real joy is to really go back and be with it, right? The connected to all that is somewhere, right? In our spirituality, in our lifestyle, and all the stuff that's happened, all of this change has brought us out of that connection. As AI and the world will be able to do some of this lower level work, that well, what could we do that bring our entire society to someplace completely different? We're noticing that today we're on the brink of a lot of people breaking down, right? Just the people are overwhelmed. They're checking out more, and no matter how many drugs and medications we give them, no matter how much pot is allowed to do, or how much drinking they're allowed to do, or where we legalize whatever we're doing, it's not that's not helping it. Somewhere,
Absolutely.
as we look at ourselves as bodies perfectly designed, and find our ways to stay as conscious as we can, right? There's a gift in that. That will be the folks who are the haves and the have-nots in the future. Those that can stay as conscious as possible through this change. People ask me all the time, "Hey, what should my kid do? What should I do for my kids? Where should they go to college? What should they be doing?" And I say to them all the time, I'm like, "Look, you want to teach your kids to be as conscious as they can, to experience it. Don't just go to college to get drunk. Like, experience, be with people, watch, see how they interact, be
Yes,
with human beings, find places where they know themselves really, really well, right? Do the practices of self development and understanding themselves. Find some meditative practice, find some physical practice that really bring the body into great shape. If they can really focus on those places where I can up my health to the best I've ever done. This weekend I spent some time with some guys, some men I was so last weekend I was in New York. This weekend I was in Park City, Utah, and we're with a group of men who are all talking about how to eat, how to work out, how to physically fit at a higher level than ever before. And I think to myself, wow, that's something that my father didn't do,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. No, I completely agree. So, one thing I'll say is, as you pointed out, I believe the next halves will be uh, people who are at a higher level of consciousness, because AI is not going to allow us to compete on the intellectual level. It will only allow us to compete at a more conscious level. The second thing is, as we just discussed earlier, I think we are entering an age of abundance for everyone. And there's a controversial spiritual leader, Osho, from India. He said that I am the guru of the rich, because the person who's trying to struggle to put food on the family, they don't have the time or the energy to focus on their inner growth, right? And I can empathize with that, because I come from that background, right? When you are worried about filling your stomach, you cannot focus on filling up your spirit or your mind. But as we move into this age of abundance, it will actually allow us to focus on these higher level um, purposes, open up our consciousness for the masses. I think that is the most exciting thing about AI, because it will allow the evolution of the planet, which is right now just going around in circles trying to pillage more and more resources, running after wealth. That is not true wealth. True wealth is peace and connection, and as you said, those relationships. And I think AI is the vehicle for us to get there.
Nice. It's gonna be a lot of fun. You and I have great conversations about this. I watch the work that you're doing, the patents that you're having. As people want to hire you and bring you on board, or have you come and speak with them, you are a great thought leader. How do people get a hold of you?
The best thing is just find me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best choice. Just look up my name and let me know you heard me on this podcast and how I may be able to help.
Manuj, I will make sure that all of those connections are down below. I find our conversations to be so much joy and bring me so much pleasure. I look forward to having many, many more with you as we keep unfolding and keep growing with this AI platforms that are out there. Let's you'll make sure that our audience, if you have any questions at all, audience, please make sure you're putting them down below. I like to hear your opinions on something, anything with AI, any thoughts you have. I'd like to make sure that you put those down there, and Manush and I will make sure that we get back to you some answers, or bring it up in our next meeting together. Manuj, thank you very much for another beautiful conversation together.
Thank you so much. I feel honored, and thank you for having me. And this was a very, very, very deep conversation. And I applaud you for taking that conversation in that direction.